Welcome to America's zombie apocalypse of emotional numbness. If you're a brainless doom scrolling zombie, you gotta go right now. Just keep scrolling. Don't worry about this. This is only for people with a brain. Because if you're not a brainless zombie, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. And also enjoy the show. Let's go ahead and begin, shall we? Alright, so for today's show, the theme is Pick Me Zombies. And we're going to get into details as to what we mean by Pick Me Zombies. Alright, let's go ahead and jump right into it as we always do. Now, for the males, it's going to be the equivalent of the alpha male. There's nothing wrong with being an alpha. However, 99.999% of people have no idea what a real alpha male is. Technically, it doesn't exist, such a person. But if I had to say what an alpha male is, there are some legit, concrete definitions out there. All it means is pretty much a mature, intelligent, wise, good-hearted man who's not afraid to express himself and his emotions, very assertive, yet respectful, yada yada, all the good stuff. All the good stuff. Not the classic Hollywood-like show-off that is cringe. Like, sure, it might be cool at first, then it turns a little bit funny, but you don't have to look like Terminator 2, to be respected in this world. That's not what an alpha male is. You can have all the muscles and all the money and, look attractive, but if you're a total jackass inside and you act like a jackass, well, guess what? You're no longer an alpha male, are you? So that's what we're going to be talking about today in a way, because it's not necessarily the alpha male. This is in a pick-me angle. So let's go ahead and start, shall we? Alright, so the first zombie in line for the males. I'm the leader. She needs to fall in line. Alright, so here we go. Toxic masculinity. He confuses domination with leadership. Partnership means submission in his world. A woman with opinions is difficult. A woman who pushes back is disrespectful. You see, this is how toxic we are right now with this type of zombie. And most likely they're abusive zombies. They will abuse you. Pretty much guaranteed with this type of garbage trash attitude. Because a real man would say, I lead by serving, not by ruling. We make decisions together. Her voice isn't a challenge, it's a gift. Well, that's because the relationship, you guys are both partners. You guys are team members. You guys got to be teammates. Anything other than that, where the woman is trying to act like a bad bitch boss, or the guy's trying to act like a toxic, abusive jackass in charge. I mean, two wrongs don't make a right, but neither does one. So yeah, we're gonna go over the female zombies after all this, but we still got 4 more brainless male zombies to deal with here. I don't do emotions. That's her department. This is really pathetic. He's outsourced the entire emotional landscape of the relationship. Feelings are weak. Vulnerability is dangerous, and she's left holding all the soft parts alone. Yeah, that's a weak zombie right there. A real man would say emotions are human, not female. I feel, I express, I share. She's not my emotional garbage disposal. You see what we're talking about here? This is a lot easier. This episode's going to be much easier to identify just how brainless of zombies we're dealing with right here. This is like the worst of the worst. This is not alpha material. If you guys believe in alpha or you don't, I really don't care. But for the sake of defining what an alpha male is, the female equivalent of a pick-me, because that's what this attitude is, in a way, this is just being pretty much a total ass is pretty much what it is. Not necessarily a pick-me, but they think they're pick-me's in their own empty skulls. So that's the way that works. All right, so zombie number 3, respect is non-negotiable. She will respect me. Obviously, he doesn't have to respect her, right? He demands respect like a tyrant, not understanding that real respect is earned and given freely. Forced respect is just fear wearing a mask. That's correct. A real man says, I earn respect by being respectful. I don't demand it. I attract it by how I show up. Right. Yeah. And it's always an ever occurring thing. How you show up right now, how you show up tomorrow, how you showed up today. Make apologies if you weren't as polite as possible to those who deserve it. Take accountability for yourself. Have boundaries to keep those who only want to disrespect you away. But, we're talking about on the other side of the stick here. The one wielding it, which is this jackass right here. This jackass zombie. So, she will respect me. Of course, you don't have to respect her, right? Alright, so it goes without saying, all three of these first zombies are very self-explanatory. Don't need to really dive deep into them. Zombie number 4. I wear the pants in this relationship. Alright. Continuing, just making it worse, right? Just digging a deeper grave right here. A deeper hole. He's still using phrases from 1950s sitcoms. The pants metaphor reveals everything. He sees relationship as costume drama with assigned roles, not two humans figuring it out together. Exactly. A real man says, there are no pants. There's no costume. There's just us, showing up as equals, figuring it out. Exactly. That's much of what I preach. You guys are equals. You guys have to go through experiences together as a team. None of this male versus female garbage. That's only for brainless zombies to do. Alright, so the last zombie for the males here. The fake alpha males, if you will. Alright, so a real man provides, protects, and never shows weakness. He's trapped in a prison of outdated masculinity. He can't cry, can't ask for help, can't be soft. He's not a real man, he's a statue. Yeah, that's pretty much who you are. I mean, it's worse than a robot, it really is. Because at least a robot has some type of useful, productive program. Unless it's like a Terminator, but even then, a Terminator has a mission to do some type of what it believes is good. But it's not like a total jackass, right? So yeah, this is worse than robots. We're talking about a statue is a good one. It's a good way of putting it. A real man says a real man provides when he can, protects when needed, and shows weakness because he's human. Real men are real, not statues. Exactly. Unfortunately, we have a lot of brainless zombies out there, especially in the United States, who actually fall for all 5 of these. She needs to fall in line. That's her department with emotions. That's all drama. And, respect me. I don't have to respect you because I'm the man. I wear the pants. And he doesn't have to show any sign of just humility, vulnerability, nothing like that. So total jackass. And unfortunately, the United States is just overflowing with these brainless zombies. Hence, the American zombie apocalypse. All right, let's go ahead and shift gears over to the female brainless zombies, the pick-me's. Now, here's where we're going to really define it clearly as a pick-me. And there are lots of them out there. They pretend to be, alpha women, if you will. But they're not. They're not. They're just trying to put on a show. In fact, almost all of them believe the complete opposite of what they actually pretend to be. It's really sick. It really is. So the first zombie female here with the pick-me category. I'm not like other girls. I'm chill. I don't cause drama. I say enough talk. Why don't you just prove it, right? It's okay to pledge some things, but that's something that you need to prove. She tears down her entire gender to seem more appealing to men. Other women are crazy and dramatic. She's one of the guys. Yeah, that's a red flag. She's abandoned her sisters for male approval she'll never fully get. A real woman says, I don't need to be not like other girls. Other girls are wonderful. I'm wonderful too. in my own way. Yeah, so I'm a good guy. There's other good guys out in the world. There's good women. So the brainless zombies on the male side will say, no, there's no such thing. They don't exist. That's because they're brainless zombies. And, but the females out there pretending to be good females. I mean, good women, actually. The brainless zombie females. It gets complicated sometimes. Tongue twisters. So the brainless zombie females, they'll try to pretend to be real women that are worth your time, effort, and love. Your entire life. They'll pretend, but underneath the veil lies a brainless zombie female, not a real woman. It's up to you to figure it out for the guys out there. They'll pretend so much, but they act out of interest. They won't help support positive causes. They won't support anybody. No, they only care about themselves. Again, they'll act like I'm the only good woman out there. Yeah, you gotta be careful with those shouting it at the top of their lungs. Be careful. Now, they could be telling the truth, but you gotta watch them like a hawk. Because most likely, it's a charade. They're just acting. So, brainless zombie female number 2. I'd rather have male friends. Yeah, that's a red flag. Women are just too much drama. That could be true. That women they have a lot of drama, but so do the men. They have a lot of drama problems. It's pretty much equal in these days. But yeah, those aren't real men and women. Those are just toxic males and females. And all they do is just complain and point fingers at each other. What can I say? So this type of attitude here, only having male friends, no, doesn't work like that. She's internalized misogyny and wears it like a personality. Every woman is competition or chaos. She doesn't see what she's lost by refusing to learn from her own gender. Exactly. A real woman says, women aren't drama. Some people are drama. I don't generalize. I judge individuals. Right, it's on a case-by-case basis. But like I said, unfortunately, there's a lot of brainless, immature zombies out there. They think they know what they're talking about when they really don't. Because the type of garbage they spit out is just really sickening. It really is. And that's the bad drama. That's the negative, destructive drama that nobody needs. Real drama is destructive. It's toxic. It infects. And that's why it's a zombie apocalypse. Far too many gullible, lowlives are adopting this zombie attitude. And so they just walk the earth like they're walking dead. And they think they're spitting out facts. But they're not. There's no knowledge. There's no wisdom. Just empty skulls. So, zombie number 3, brainless zombie number 3, underneath the pick-me female zombie category. I don't need a label. I'm just going with the flow. Okay, this is interesting. She accepts breadcrumbs because asking for the whole loaf is needy. Ah, yes. She'll be cool with situationships forever rather than risk being seen as demanding. A real woman says, I deserve clarity. I deserve commitment. Going with the flow is how you drown. Right. There's a lot of these zombies out there. They just live just to live. They go through the motions. Hence, going with the flow. Yeah, it's really lazy. It's very mediocre. And then the guys, they wonder why they're so miserable with such a wife or girlfriend by their side. Well, duh. Look at her attitude. Yeah, whatever, babe. Yeah, okay, whatever you want, babe. There's just no life to them. The Walking Dead. Just going through the motions. There's a time to just let go and say, okay, let's just do whatever comes to mind. Let's just wing it together. Yeah, but you guys do that together. But when it's one person constantly in this mode of, yeah, whatever's fine. Yeah, sure. Okay, yeah, that. Okay. Like, just, there's no animated positive attitude to them. That's why I say The Walking Dead, brainless zombies. You don't want to be with somebody like that because it's only going to get worse. You might think that it's chill and it's cool at first, But trust me, it's going to get very boring very fast. Faster than you think. And then you're going to be the one whining and complaining, oh my goodness, why did I even get into this relationship? Because you were too lazy to change things when you should have. And you thought, well, I'm just going to smash that repeat button and hope for the best. You can't lie to yourself, buddy. It's only going to get worse. These things don't turn into the best experiences in life the way that you think they will. So just going with the flow, going through the motions is one of the worst relationships you can have. Mediocrity is a relationship killer. It really is. So, brainless zombie number 4 for the females. I cook, I clean, I don't complain. Why don't men want women like me anymore? Okay. She's turned herself into a servant, hoping to be chosen. She's confused role-playing with partnership. Yeah, this actually does exist. Men aren't looking for maids. They're looking for partners. And I blame this in the black and white days because, unfortunately, a lot of toxic males back then, they kind of defined a housewife as the wife. That's it. The things they do defines them, not the person that they were, that these women were. It is sickening because generations later, here we are with women, young, middle-aged. They're just confused. They're like, well, I don't know what a good woman is then. Should I act like a traditional trad wife, as they say? That's how messed up they are. They're confused, and especially if their parents did an extremely poor job teaching them anything about how to be a great partner. Especially if they don't believe in the art of perfection. Because that means, well, somebody will accept you the way you are. Talk about laziness. Mediocrity at its best. These are people who will never change for the better. They'll never grow with you in a relationship that's supposed to be out of this world of an experience. These are the walking dead. When they don't know what they're doing, they just do because they think that's what they're supposed to do. There's no substance. There's no passion. And people are just so stupid to not see it. So they just go through the motions, as we said with the third zombie. But here, the fourth zombie is pretty much going through what they think is expected from them. I don't know. I think this is what I'm supposed to do. Where's your mind? Of course they don't have one because they're empty-skulled zombies. They already ate each other's brains. All right, so the last female zombie underneath the pick-me category. I'm low maintenance. I don't ask for much. Hey, nothing wrong with that. But we're talking about extremes here, right? Let's go into further detail. She's made herself small to be acceptable. This is like the extremist minimalist, okay? Her needs are too much. Her desires are high maintenance. She's disappeared herself to be chosen. A real woman says, I have needs, I have standards. That's not high maintenance. That's self-respect. The right person won't make me shrink. Right. So, and I've talked about this many times in other shows, in other series. It's not, there's a toxic way of being high maintenance, like, honey, you need to pay for this, and that. No. How about no? Because if we don't have the money, it's not going to happen. But even if you did have the money, well, if the guy's okay with it, if that's where the money's going to go, and if you guys are dual working, well, I guess you guys have to arrange that. Whatever floats your guys' boat. But if it's all about money, for the sake of maintenance, things that you don't necessarily need, well, then now it could become potentially toxic in the future, right? So just keep that in mind. We're talking about extremes here. So let's go through it a little bit more here. She says, her desires are high maintenance. She disappeared herself to be chosen. Okay. But remember, we're talking about pick-me's here, so this is kind of like not really well written here. Because we start off with, I'm low maintenance, I don't ask for much. And so she made herself small. Minimalist approach. Okay. But we have to keep that in mind because it's a little contradicting when she says her needs are too much. Her desires are high maintenance. So she's talking about the opposite of that. It's kind of poorly worded here. But it doesn't matter. We see what we're dealing with here. Low maintenance, fine. But that could indicate that she's not into self-respect or self-care. To invest in herself, her own health. Maybe toss in a little fashion, a little sex appeal, a little sexiness into the mix. You see what we're dealing with? So we have extremes, okay, people? We have the gold digger, the high maintenance, you will pay for all of this. Somewhere in the middle, well, I do like to get my procedures done. If you can help me out with that, that would be great. If not, I guess I'll fund it myself. But you guys are going to have to talk about that. And then you have the low end of the spectrum. No maintenance at all. Oh, okay, all I do is just, pretty much nothing really to make myself look sexy, to feel sexy. I don't really invest in myself. At least time and effort if it's not money. But maintenance requires time and money. It's not just all about the money as most people, probably 99% of people think. It's all about money. No. It's about, do you exercise? Do you take the time to research things that could educate you, self-taught, do it yourself, become a little smarter? Not every day, but, oh my goodness, at least once a week or once a month. Something. Learn something. My goodness, it doesn't have to be an entire language, but do something. Otherwise you will be an empty-skulled brain zombie. Brainless zombie, right? So with that said, I think that pretty much does cover all the pick-me, category, and with the alpha male, the wannabe, the pseudo-alpha male, the fake alpha male, if you will. It's totally not alpha, and is not a real man. So with that said, that's all for today's show. Get access to my free 1-hour movie by simply becoming a member on my website, where you can also potentially become a guest speaker on my show. Let's talk about love, a topic of your choice underneath the beautiful umbrella of relationships and love. Step up to the plate or stay quiet. Much love, everybody.